Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Gordon here with another Tech Time with Gordon. Continuing on from my previous week, we were talking about Gmail. I'm going to talk a little bit further about Google Drive. So I'm going to explain, what Google Drive is, some cool benefits in regards to what it can do for you. So let's begin. So exactly what Google Drive is, it's a personal cloud storage service that Google offers us. This gives us options to store information such as, documents, all those emails that were, piling up. Those are technically also stored on the Google Drive. We can store photos up there or really anything in general. We can put it on there. So you've heard me mention that Google Drive is a cloud system. And you're probably asking yourself, well, I hear cloud all the time. I hear iCloud, Outlook has a cloud, everyone has a cloud. But what does it actually mean? So cloud basically means that we're storing and we're accessing data over internet services. So you treat the internet basically like a cloud. It's an invisible system that we really don't see. So what we're doing is we're not storing everything on our own personal device. We are taking that information and we're storing it somewhere out there on the internet. And we're pulling all that information and that's how we're viewing it. And really, cloud-based computing does have a lot of advantages. So let's kind of discuss what the advantages are. So when it comes down to those benefits with cloud computing, number one is the flexibility. You can have multiple devices pull from the same information. Because we are storing it up in the cloud, I can pull that information and I can see it on my laptop, or I can pull it and receive it on the phone all at the same time. So basically, because it's up in the cloud, I can basically jump between different devices really quickly. So it just makes things a lot easier. The other thing is disaster recovery. So if I were to, say, smash my phone, lose my phone, maybe I'm looking for an upgrade on my phone, because it's all stored on the cloud, if I lose the hardware, that's fine. It'd be a disaster, but it's technically fine because all my stuff or all my valuable information is stored on the cloud, and I just I can I can buy a new device and then put in my account information and then pull it down and then pull it onto my new phone or my new laptop. Security, it is harder to steal. What I mean by this is, again, if you lose your phone, if someone steals your phone, you can just change your account information, change your passwords, and they no longer have access to that cloud-based drive. These places that are storing all your information, they have giant towers and they're making backups of backups. They have great security when it comes down to that. The biggest issue when it comes down to cloud is having one of those strong passwords that I always talk about, and just make sure if there are any problems to change your password quickly and make sure that you store it somewhere, so if you do forget your password, it's easy to find. So again, if you write a password down in a book somewhere in your house, you can quickly recover without any threats. And for most of us, it is far less likely that we're going to lose our data because it's stored on the internet service than having everything on our computer. Because unfortunately, with our if we physically have it on here, there's a lot more that can happen. Whereas if it's out on the cloud, it is easier to retrieve and make sure that nothing's going to get lost or damaged. So you might be saying to yourself, well, Gordon, that sounds great, I want to start using the Google Drive, but I don't know what to do. Like, how do I access that? Well, that's a good question. So in order to do this, basically we just log into your Google account. So, log into your Gmail account, what have you. You should notice on the top right, there's 6 squares. And if you look at my picture above, this is where you would do it. So you see the 6 squares, you click on it. That will show you all the list of features that you have access with having a Google account. And one of them will be the drive. And then you're going to click on the drive. And now you have access to it. Now, if you don't have a Google account or a Gmail account, definitely you can get one. It's free. If you check out my other video about Gmail, that past Gordon will tell you more information about how to do that. So once you officially click on the Drive or Google Drive, you'll access what is called the dashboard. So basically, this is going to show you basically all the content, everything that you have right now stored on your drive. You are able to quickly go through that using the sidebar. You can even create folders and organize it a little better. If you notice on the right hand, so looking at the picture above, it's showing all the different files that you have access to and explaining what those files are. So other components in regards to the drive, on the top left corner, you should see the button New. What this allows you to do is you can hit New. You can upload files. So if you already have a specific file that you want to save on there, if you want to create a brand new file just on Google itself, you do have access to it. So you can make, basic Google Docs like a Word document. Google Sheets is like having an Excel program, and Google Slides is like a PowerPoint. So you do have access to that in the drive, and you can create these brand new files there. So let's say that you're not going to be creating a brand new file. You're going to be taking a file that already exists, and you want to put it on Google Drive to store to make sure that it's safe. There's 2 ways of doing it. Again, you can click that new feature and click upload or import, and you can search your computer or search your files for whatever you want. Another method you can do is you can literally, if you have the item, you can drag it and drop it, and basically it's going to automatically upload that information. So now that we've uploaded a document, what we can do next is we can potentially share it with another person. This could be friends, colleagues, loved ones, anyone you think would be interested in having that document. You have the ability to share it with. To share it, basically you should see a share icon. Generally, I find this is a little person with a plus sign. Once we click on that, we do have different sharing settings. So the first sharing setting is just basically public. Anyone on the web can find it. Me personally, I use anyone with a link. So basically, the drive will create a link. I can copy that link and I can email that link to other people, and now they have access to viewing it. I can do specific people. So, maybe this is something that we're doing for work. I can find that person on my contact list and basically send that information. Another thing with specific people, you have the ability to let them, edit and comment, whereas with the link, no one can really touch it. So when I was talking about specific contacts, and you have the ability to make them as editors, or they can make comments, the cool feature in regards to Google Drive is doing this, you have the ability to collaborate. Now that other person has to have a Google/Gmail account in order to do a collaboration. If they have another email provider account, they won't have access to this feature. But if they do have a Google account, they do have, if you set them as an editor, They do have the ability to make changes to a document. So maybe this is a Google Doc, a Word document. This could be like a presentation, whatever you have. And the cool thing about it is you have the ability to actually see what people are doing, what changes that they're making, by looking at the revision history, and it will highlight or indicate what they have made. You can even look at past versions to see, do you like the older version compared to the new version? So it just gives you the ability to interact and work together on projects that other drives don't give you that option to do. So that I really admire or think that is a cool feature when it comes down to the Google Drive. So another interesting feature Google Drive has is offline mode. So you can set certain documents to be accessible when you're offline. So maybe you're out in the middle of the woods, or maybe there's a power outage, or you don't have internet connection. This allows you to still, have access to that document without the need of internet. So in order to do this, if you have a mobile device like a phone or tablet, you can just download the Google Drive app. Makes a lot of things easier. If not, basically you're going to go to that document that you're interested in doing this, and then you're going to go to the menu icon on the left. You want to go into your settings, and then there should be somewhere you're looking for offline sync, and you want to make sure that's on. And in my pictures, basically up here, if you notice the circle with the lightning bolt in it, basically that is indicating to us that this document is set for offline. So if I have a problem, I don't have internet access, I will still have access to this document. It might not be, the latest and greatest version if people are still, doing edits and stuff like that, but I still have access to it if I desperately need it. In conclusion, Google Drive is a great service when it comes down to cloud computing. There are other cloud computing out there. The biggest features I find that is different with the Google Drive is the ability to collaborate more. The additional options to share is just great. I encourage people to look into cloud computing. The saddest thing is, again, if you put everything on your device and something was to happen with it, you would hate to lose your, all your valuable photos, all your documentation, anything that's important to you. Cloud computing is great. It just gives you that flexibility and gives you that kind of disaster recovery mode that you might not have if you didn't go for cloud computing. The biggest issue though is, again, making sure that you have a strong password and making sure that you, if you change anything or record your password somewhere. So, if you were to try to sign in and you forgot it, you are able to you can find that information out fairly quickly. So that concludes Thursday's Tech with Gordon. I hope you had enjoyed it and learned a little more about the Google Drive. Have a nice day. Bye now.